Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reviews That Don't Matter with Jessica Hitt. My name is Jessica Hitt. On today's episode, we're talking John Wick 2. Yes, I finally watched the second one, and you know what? I really enjoyed it. And if you have not seen, I did review the first John Wick back in January, I believe it was. So if go back to that, watch that video, come back to this one. This is very much a different story. I mean, it still plays on the same themes of the first movie, obviously, with John Wick really just wanting to stay retired, and like he did his thing, and then he gets called in again with this sort of blood oath from this man, and basically it's the downfall of everything. And what this movie does really well was where the first one is a very self-contained story that kind of doesn't feel like it's going too far, like outside of like locations and all that kind of stuff. This one, it travels. You go to Italy and Rome, or I think you go to Rome, and then you go back to New York. It doesn't feel crazy. You expand your list of assassins. Common is in this, and he actually does a really good job. And I really like this really interesting code of conduct that is developed with the Continental and sort of the Assassin's world of, this is business. So if you have to die, you have to die. I'm sorry. And I think that's really interesting. And it's really created this really interesting world that now John Wick is against. And that ending, which I don't want to spoil it because I do feel like there's a lot of people who have not seen the John Wick series and really should. We're getting a third one, so I'm very happy with that. The ending of this was shocking. I did not see that coming whatsoever. I thought that there would be some way of him weaseling out of this thing and have it be a whole issue for the Continental, but he didn't. And there was a little bit of courtesy, of course, and then it's like, you know what, you got, 24 hours, and you're done. Also, a dog didn't die in this movie, so that is helpful. Lawrence Fishburne reunites with Keanu Reeves from The Matrix, and, it's interesting. He kind of runs like this assassin underground homeless network. So a lot of the homeless people in New York, I think this is in New York, are kind of under the influence of this guy who's running. They basically funnel information in a way, but they're also highly trained assassins. And this movie just plays with the idea that everything that you know has a twist on it. Like, it's so well done. It really is. It's so intriguing. And I can't remember if this was an original idea or if this was based on something, whether it was a graphic novel comic, or a cartoon or a book. I'm not 100% sure. I feel like it was based on something, but I would also not be surprised if it was a completely original product from the first movie. And I'll tell you what, this is really doing wonders for Keanu Reeves' career, because now Bill and Ted 3 is happening, and I am so here for it because Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is one of my favorite movies from back in the day. And Bogus Adventure, I can't remember anything about the sequel, but I feel like I like it. I'll have to rewatch it at some point. But I love Bill and Ted, and the fact that we're getting a third one is very exciting, and I feel like it is because of the success of John Wick and, of course, John Wick 2, which did so much better and had great reviews for being a sequel. So let's see that if, maybe this third movie could really even build on what they've already built from the second one, which would be very, very impressive. But these are movies that I think work well when they go on DVD and they go on sale and rented. Those are the types of movies that you're like, oh my God, this is like Edge of Tomorrow. Nobody saw it in the theater, but when it went on Blu-ray, people started renting it, and they're like, this is actually like way better. Or like The Accountant did okay in theaters, but it was the #1 most rented movie last year, which is weird, but like, I understand. There's some movies that you just want to wait until you can rent it, so that way you don't go to the theater because either you're lazy or you don't want to spend that much money. And I feel like if they were smart, I don't think this is going to happen, mainly because of rights and everything. They would do John Wick 2 or John Wick, or both of them, put them on Netflix, because currently they are on HBO now, so you can do that, but that's kind of expensive and not as many people have it. But put it on Netflix, get a more widespread audience to watch these films, because let's be real, Netflix really is I mean, some of their film selection is not as great as their TV selection. But anyway, that is maybe like a marketing tool they could do for John Wick 3. But I feel like it's got enough name recognition now that people people are like, oh yeah, John Wick 1 and 2 were so good. Like, you really got to go see it. To where when John Wick 3 comes out, people are like, maybe I'll check this one out. And I don't think you necessarily will need to watch the first two. I think this is kind of one of those movies you could probably jump into and get the gist of it, and then come back and rewatch everything, and I don't think it's going to ruin your experience. Okay, guys, I hope you guys like this review of John Wick 2. Really enjoyed the movie. I would definitely recommend this to people. I think people should really get into these movies. They're super tough and gritty, and, well, kind of gritty, but they are gruesome and bloody, and sometimes you just kind of need that. Also, you need a little bit of Keanu Reeves in your life sometimes, especially when you don't really get much. For a while there, you weren't making the greatest things. Anyway, if you like this review, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what do you think of John Wick 2. Also, don't forget to subscribe and make videos Monday through Friday for the most part. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.